take selfish time. Like,
can you explain a little what that is?
Yeah, so somehow the word selfish has become like a bad word. Like, oh my God, to be selfish is terrible. And you see these mothers drive themselves into the ground, literally an early grave, because they're just always living for other people. And I get it. The impulse is noble. It is beautiful. When you're the recipient of that kind of care, it is unbelievable. But for your own sanity, to love your life, you must take some time that's just selfish. Selfish. Not, oh, this is for the family and therefore it's selfish. Selfish for you, just you, whatever that is. A bubble bath, read a book, watch a movie that nobody else in your family likes or wants to watch. Schedule time. I get Netflix from this time to this time, whatever. And like, you watch shows that are like having my fingernails ripped out. But hey, it's your selfish time. You know what I mean? And if I want to join you for some of that, like, I'll be the first to admit, sometimes when you watch Jersey Shore, I join you for that.
Yes, you do.
Right? But it's not something I would pick on my own. But like, okay, cool. Like, that's fun enough sometimes.
With no judgment, actually, I just want to add that, because that's so important. If you're taking selfish time, if you kept coming in and I was watching Jersey Shore and you kept coming in and you're like, and heckled me, it's like, even if you're trying to be playful, eventually, especially when people are quarantined and you get that day in and day out, that will start to really, I think, upset people and rub each other the wrong way. And that's how, going back to the very first question I asked you, that's how you end up getting into silly little arguments, because something's rubbing you the wrong way, you're not quite sure why, and it comes out in other ways.
Truth.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, man, not at all. That's genius. So yeah, and some people, selfish time really may be, I need to be alone, not another human making any noise. I know for me, I love that. I have a very strong imagination. So to be in my imagination and to let that roam or to meditate, whatever, is deeply cathartic. So for people to find that space to do that thing, I think it's really important.
I saw a post where they quoted, Nelson Mandela and what Nelson Mandela, endured and went through. My wife showed it to me. That's where I saw it. And, it said for over 20 years, Nelson Mandela was, he was in a cell alone by himself. No one to talk to. That was the ultimate level of your quote unquote quarantine, without it being called a quarantine. As people, what are we complaining about and what can we not do? This shall pass and we can get through it together. So it was, it was pretty dope to just see and hear, a different perspective on it, and take that perspective and use that to highlight the way of thinking for your family. Guys, This is why we're going to do this. And this is why we shouldn't complain. This is why we don't have a reason to complain. So there's tons of those out there if you want to find them to show you that, if your household got a little loud, got a little difficult, it ain't the end of the world. It's definitely not the end of the world.
It wasn't that long since you had the car accident.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think you said for the first time in your life, maybe, you'd kind of been forced into a situation where you had to take time out. And like that in itself was its own revelation. That was kind of a really valuable time.
And what's crazy is that, when we talked then, I was like, look, for the first time in my life, I actually, I'm sitting down. And I don't sit down. This is the first time that I was actually sitting down. I sat home, you're talking between 4 to 6 months. I was home, not doing nothing, recovering, getting better, rehabbing. And I was just home. And when I was home, I got to be more present, more conscious of my household, much more familiar with why this is an important time for me. And it was, Kevin, take advantage of this. Don't look by this. Don't just speed by this moment. This is important. This is something that was supposed to happen. And now because of it, look at the connection between me, my wife, and my kids is at the all-time high. And now, when I just step back out to work. I just stepped back out. I was, we were filming. I just got done doing a series for Quibi. I was about to start Man from Toronto, which is a movie I'm doing with Sony. And then this came. And when this came, now I'm back and I'm sitting down again. So, where it could be looking at like, damn, what the man? It's not. I'm like, you know what? I'm not fighting this. It's obviously supposed to happen. So I'm not fighting the universe. I'm not fighting that man upstairs. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take whatever this is, and I'm going to try to open up my eyes enough so I can see whatever lesson that's trying to be taught to us all. Yeah. We're all being, this is something that's happening, and we're never going to truly know why. Mm-hmm. But if we search for a positive why, it'll be, if we all come out of it better, then we're going to look back at it like, hey man, thank God that shit happened. Our world was on a crazy downward spiral to something that we don't want to be or didn't want to see. Yeah. But when we all were forced to be in the house and love one another and come into an amazing space where through the internet, which is turned somewhat bad, which has been used as the weapon of destruction, we've now elevated into something of good. You're seeing people share positivity for like the first time in forever.
It's been a while, right?
It's been a while since we've seen people share positivity. You know, you're seeing people in different countries on their balconies singing songs together. You're seeing people in Brooklyn singing songs together. You're seeing people become a unit. Yeah. You're seeing us go back to the thing that we were all trying to march towards. And I think that's a beautiful thing that should be realized and recognized. So, you know, I don't want to overlook these amazing moments and these amazing times that we're being presented with. Within everything bad, there's some good. Open your eyes up and find that good. You just got to open your eyes up.
No matter what year you live in, no matter what decade you live in, there's always something that's going to happen. Remember, media needs crisis. Media needs conflict. Media needs challenges. Media needs conspiracy. That's how they get eyeballs. They need more of it. So today, media is just, they can't wait to come to work to drop the C word, which is what? Coronavirus. Because people want to know more about it. But for you, my encouragement to you is a complete different thing. Look, there's two things in life. There is danger, there is fear. When I lived in Iran and we were being bombed on, you can't say, well, you don't need to be afraid, you know, it's not a big deal. No, there is danger. We're being bombed on. The house next door came down. It was a 4-story house. Because the bomb was supposed to drop in our building, it dropped on the building next door to us. So you can't just say, it's okay. My dad got in the car, we drove up, we went to a city called Karaj. Because there's danger. When I was living in Iran and things were bad, you have to be careful. We were facing real danger. So when it comes to danger, you have to be cautious. What does this mean? Is coronavirus dangerous? Of course it is. You have to be careful. You have to do the things to prepare yourself. You have to wash your hands more often. You have to have a sanitizer in your pocket. My dad called me yesterday saying, make sure you have a sanitizer in your pocket. You're always shaking people's hands. You have to be cautious with your kids. You have to be a little bit more attentive to see what's going on in the classroom. What is the school saying? What emails are there saying? Of course you have to be cautious because there's true danger. Even though there's been all these deaths, fear part is flu cost 500,000 people's lives last year. 500,000. In U.S. alone, 14,000 to 36,000 people died in U.S. last year due to flu. How come the number one word is not flu? Because this is more marketable, not flu. Fear is what takes something like this and turns it this big. Fear is when you and I let control of our imagination and, oh my gosh, what if this happens? What if that happens? So if you're constantly watching about getting sick, if I constantly told you, people are getting sick, 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 you start thinking maybe you're sick. Smallest thing that happens to you, I think I'm sick. I think I'm getting something. Oh, babe, I think I'm getting something. Why do you think kids who are raised in an environment where parents don't tell them how amazing they are, where parents don't challenge them or encourage them, why do you think sometimes these kids are raised and they don't think highly of themselves? Because somebody, you're a loser, you're nothing, you're this, you're that. They believe it. Meaning, if you constantly listen to the news over and over and over again, you're going to start thinking you're sick. You're going to start thinking how bad it is. You're going to start playing defense, not because of real danger. Of course, you got to be cautious, but because of fear. Because once fear gets a hold of us, things get out of control. And once it gets out of control, then you're just being used by the media because the more eyeballs are watching them. So what's the suggestion to you? Here's my suggestion to you. We sometimes, when crisis happens, forget how much of an overcomer you and I are. Go back to your life. Think about the toughest time you had. How did you overcome it? When I go back to my life, if I think about Iran, we overcame that. What happened? We went to Germany. I lived at a refugee camp. We overcame that. I came here. I went to the army. We overcame that. We lost the president in the U.S., assassinated, John F. Kennedy. Martin Luther King, assassinated. It was the end of the world in U.S. World Trade Center, 9/11. I was working at Morgan Stanley Dean Widow when that happened. Everybody thought it's the end of the world. World War III is going to break out. North Korea, Iran, everybody looks back. You have so many different things to look at to say, we've overcome many, many hardships, many, many challenges as a community, but as an individual as well. My encouragement to you is as an individual, you as an individual, because every community has a leader behind closed doors that says, listen, it's okay. There is real danger, but the fear part, let's not let it get out of control. Because if you let this thing get out of control, how are you going to have fun? How are you going to be happy? How are you going to enjoy to be around with your family? How are you going to be fun to be around at work when you have to solve issues? You still have to pay your bills. You still have to go to work. You still have to be a parent. You still have to be a sibling. You still have to be a friend. You still have to take care of yourself. You still have to go make your job and fulfill your commitment. You still have to do that. But if you're coming from a place of anxiety and fear, you're not going to do it at your best. So my challenge to you is the following. Yes, educate yourself and be cautious about what the news, what the government tells us, whether it's something that's happening that we need to know about. Yes, do be cautious on what is going on. Do take the necessary precautions to wash your hands and sanitize and all that stuff. But the moment somebody tries to mess with your fear and your imagination to take it out of control, don't let that happen to you.
But when a time like this happens, I instantly see people going into a place of stress and anxiety and spreading a virus of anxiety more than spreading something that's physically happening to them.
Yes.
And what I started to do right away, not because I'm special or anything, but because I've had specific trainings over years from sports, understanding how to manage pressure and high pressure situations. And also in the last 7 years of doing the School of Greatness podcast, interviewing experts like yourself who teach us how to calm and relax the mind when there is chaos around you. And I've always been told that you cannot control any exterior event. You can only control how you respond to that event. And you can choose to respond with social anxieties, or you can choose to respond with love and peace and wisdom to the best of your abilities.
If you want more advice, wisdom, guidance from other successful entrepreneurs on how you can navigate the coronavirus situation, check out the video right there next to me. I hope you find it valuable. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
In that situation, you have two characters. One is the influencer,